And here are some tips for how to have the best possible experience using our stories. Decide in advance how you want to deal with role play. Do you want to be somebody who steps into the skin of the character and you actually are that character? Or do you prefer the method where you simply describe how the character is reacting and what the character is saying? You don't actually try and do that yourself. Either technique works very, very well. And if you're more comfortable stepping on the side and describing the character in the third person, then that's great, but make that decision in advance. What you don't want is to come into role play not really sure how you're going to handle it, and then having that awkward moment where you're trying out different styles with the students in front of you. It's much better if you already know how you want to behave. So test it out, try it out, and give yourself a chance to really make a choice about how you want to handle this. That will, again, make the role play so much smoother and so much less stressful for you when you get there. Get to know a little bit about the story before you begin. Now, we've put a lot of effort to make sure that you don't have to do any preparation at all if you don't want to. If you need to just get a class started, you can do that. You can jump right in. All the material is laid out. You can quickly go over it as you're going through the story. But if you want to get maximum advantage out of the story, do just a little bit of preparation. Specifically, take a look at the order of the action in the story and the characters themselves. Go through the teacher's guides. Just getting a little more familiar with who the characters are, what their motivations are, and what's going to happen during the story helps you to kind of anticipate a lot of that and will help you enormously with your role playing, because you'll go into a role play fully prepared, fully knowledgeable about where you need the story to go or where you'd like the story to go. So it will make role play a lot more interesting and a little less nerve-wracking for you. Never forget that you have total control over the world that you are living in. When you're in a story, you as the teacher, as the moderator of this story, can make anything happen. You're God in this world. If you decide that you want it to rain, it rains. If you decide that this person is going to suddenly be assassinated, then they are. If you decide that the building collapses, then it does. Anything you want to have happen can happen. You can invent other characters. You can invent different circumstances. There's a lot that you can do to drive the story a particular way, to force your students to follow a certain path that you would like them to follow, or to prevent them from doing something that you don't really want them to do, because it will completely derail the storyline, because you know what's going to happen next. Now, how the students react to what you do then starts to create some really interesting situations. Feel free to use that power to drive more powerful, emotional, engaging conversations, because anything you want to have happen can happen. Remember that silliness, craziness, is your friend. When you inject elements into a story that are unexpected, silly even, one thing that happens, no matter whether you're dealing with adults or kids, is that the tension goes down. When people are facing talking chickens, or people who come up and slap them in the face with a fish, something that is just so bizarre and unexpected, even adults will start to relax. They'll chuckle and they'll sit back in their chair because they've realized that this is not an overly stuffy, serious exercise. This is an exercise in fun. Kids will start to giggle and laugh, and they'll realize that they're allowed to do anything. And suddenly they become a lot more creative. Their whole creative drive kicks in once they see you do it. So feel free to imagine all kinds of insane things that can happen in these stories. You can treat them seriously, or you can take them into Crazy Town. And believe me, Crazy Town is a lot more fun. A lot more fun for you, a lot more fun for the students. It gets the imagination going, and I highly recommend it. In these stories, we provided you with a ton of material that you can use to create homework and exercises, in-class exercises. So take the time to go through the material in advance and think through what kinds of exercises and what kinds of homework you might like to give. For example, one of our teachers has already taken some of our narrative text and some of our descriptive text, pulled out all the adjectives, and created a crossword. Another teacher took one of our dialogues and told her students, I want you to go home and imagine that you are one of the participants in this dialogue. Replace one of the characters with yourself and rewrite the dialogue based on what you would have said and what you believe the character would have responded with, and bring that in as homework. And then on another occasion said, I now want you to go home and I want you to record yourself talking to this particular character about their behavior in the story, and bring that in as homework. Enormously and wonderfully creative ideas for homework and exercises that all came out of the material itself. Now, every story comes with a vocabulary list and a set of questions just to get you started, in case you don't have any ideas right away. But if you take a little bit of time and read through the material, I promise you it will spark thousands of ideas. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We have several other videos. Watch as many of them as you would like. We have a community forum on Facebook. We would love it if you would get onto the forum and become active and have fun. Remember that this is all about having fun and getting your students to talk. So have some awesome conversations, and we hope to talk to you soon.